I finished a call this morning with really a friend. He used to do some work for me as a copywriter, and now he has his own business. Of course, he's in Dubai,
Mm,
and he's making a pitch. And this sort of dovetailed really nicely with what we talked about last week, and so it made sense to talk about it first thing this week since it's still fresh.
awesome.
He was looking at an opportunity where he would reach out to shops, stores on Shopify and Magneto and places like that,
Mhm.
Magento. I forget what it's called, but definitely Shopify, and offer to rewrite their current like 5 email sequences. Like every online store has like a sequence of emails that go out. One if you abandon your cart, one if you create an account, one because you placed an order and here's your receipt. Thanks very much. Here's, it got shipped. And then sort of a how did we do kind of email, right? So
Mhm.
every online store has or should have, no matter how small you are, sort of that 5 email core sequence.
Yes.
He was trying to figure out how to sort of expand that and sell it by selling sort of email writing services. And he's had some interest in various folks around Dubai. Dubai is an interesting city. It's very entrepreneurial, right?
Mhm.
And his problem was that when you go after, and a lot of us in small businesses, a lot of sort of specialists and professionals, we make the same mistake. Last week we talked about sort of the 3 tiers, right? Where in copywriting, for example, and it works in every service-based business for sure. But the biggest, fattest tier of that pyramid's on the bottom, and that's everybody, right? That's your best friend's aunt's nephew, and who does a little bit of this, and it's everybody on Fiverr, and it's everybody on Upwork, and it's literally everybody who doesn't have a specialty fits into there, and they're all sort of scrambling for the same dollars. And then one level up from that is a niche where he was. And then we talked about specialization to get up to a halo niche and he had a similar question, and I'll get to that in a second about websites. So if I forget, remind me to ask about
Okay.
websites
I'll
and,
remind
and
you.
Ryan. Okay. So he's at the niche level where he's been focused on email
Mhm.
and these sort of online stores, and that's his specializing in a type of service provided, that's the email copywriting, and also specializing in a vertical, right, or an industry or type of customer, which is online or e-commerce stores. And he's trying to move up to a halo niche because, of course, there's still lots of competition at the second layer of the pyramid. Until you get to the third, anything below the third, there's tons of competition. There are lots of people who write just emails and lots of people who write emails for e-commerce stores and so on. He's trying to figure out how to solidify a halo niche in there, and then hold on to those customers and add and provide to them the greatest amount of value, but also to charge appropriately for that higher level of value. And we go back to the A to Z webinar business, right, that I do,
Yes.
where I approach these companies, corporations, and you can grow your audience. So everyone knows that webinars are like a powerful sales and marketing tool, but they have a lot of moving pieces. And I struggled initially um, in getting new clients because I was only doing one piece, which was writing what someone would say to that live audience. And it was only when I expanded out and decided, you know what, there are a lot of pieces where someone might turn me down because out of a 5 or 7 or 22 step process, I'm only one step or 2 steps. And so we were talking, he and I, about the problems with email. And I said, if they're not sure that their list is good, if they don't know what to do to sort of optimize themselves in MailChimp, if they don't know how to deal with any of the analytics that they're getting at the end on open and conversion rate and so on, if they don't know how to take their conversion rate and iteratively sort of improve it and iterate all the way through the better open rates and so on, then your piece of it, even though you can argue that it's the most important piece, because unless you have something written, there's no email at all. They have lots of reasons to put you off because they're not ready for you yet. They can't be ready for you yet, and a lot of them are never going to be ready. And it was only when we started the expansion and said, we will show up, and there are a lot of moving pieces in X process. In my case, it's webinars, right? Everything from cleaning up your email, the registration pages, all the email sequences, the the upsells and those in B2B, it's usually $0 upsells, right? You're not actually like
Right.
selling something, but you're trying to get them to engage a little more, read this extra blog post, schedule a demo, talk to sales, something, right? Just
Hmm.
you'll always pick up some percentage of people if you make an offer at the right time while they're doing something like registering for your webinar. And then all the analytics and populating their CRM and stuff at the end of it with the right people and so on. So before that, when I was just selling the webinar piece, there are so many other pieces in that chain, and this works for whatever you're trying to sell to, whoever customer you're trying to sell to. There are so many pieces that even though they might see the value of what you do, they're not ready for you, and some part of their process is either hard or even broken, and you'll never make the sale because no matter how good a job you did, it wouldn't improve or fix anything before or after it. So he and I went back and forth on what he could do based on his capabilities, and he's going to start selling an end-to-end email service for e-com companies.
It's an awesome idea.
Yeah, he'll clean up. Now, the thing about it is, a lot of the times when you move into, especially as a small business, you move into and take over, basically remove the headaches, right? Take over an entire process
Yeah.
for a company. There's always a lot of extra effort upfront for you. So if you're only selling on a short per project basis, or you're only selling on a one-off basis and hope that they renewed or something, then you end up doing all this work, optimizing their email lists and cleaning out of the dead wood and figuring out what's wrong with it and all that kind of stuff. See if they have spam complaint or, deliverability issues or any of that stuff and so on, right? You put in all this work up front, and then if they cancel, then you've basically worked a lot of extra hours for nothing. Or if you look at it as like your total monthly rate, you took your monthly rate and instead of dividing it by, say, I don't know, X number of hours for what it would normally take you in month 6, you had to spend 5 times that many hours in month 1. And so if they, go away after month 1 or month 2, then you've sort of, you've lost money basically. You'd have been better off waiting a little longer, working a little longer, and picking up a 6-month or 12-month client instead of a 1-month client. So I explained to him, this has to be a longer sale, right? People have to commit to X number of months
Yes.
of working with you so that all of your upfront costs can eventually be recouped by the recurring revenue that they're bringing, that they're sending you. But beyond that, there's we always talk about specializing and niching down, right? And becoming like an absolute expert, like world-class expert, maybe in like one thing. But there's a lot of opportunity if you've got adjacent skill sets. And for most of us, if we're really good at step 3 in a 5-step process, we oftentimes for ourselves or for other clients, we've done all of the other steps. We
Yes.
wouldn't consider ourselves like, I don't consider myself a MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Aweber, whatever, world-class guru.
Me
But
neither.
I know that to get to step 3, all of this stuff in step 1 has to happen. And it
Yes.
has to be really perfect. And I know how to get it to that state. Right. And I know step 2 and I know step 4 and step 5. And so, writing for live audiences and helping speakers prepare and all that kind of stuff, how to structure these things so people stay interested. Right. And you keep people's attention with audio and with video. And so by knowing all of the pieces, it made sense to move in and just say, I will take over all of this. This whole thing is a headache for you. You will never have enough staff with specialists to handle all of this stuff. So I will do the whole thing. And that's what he's going to do around the email side. And I'm excited to see what he ends up, how his business ends up prospering around this. But I think he's got
Awesome.
an opportunity there that's pretty good. Oh, and so I didn't forget, but
The
thank you.
website.
I know you're about to remind me about his question was about, well, sometimes they want me to write on their write copy for their website,
Mhm.
right? And he was still in that old mindset. Well, if I'm an email guy, then should I turn down the website work? I say, no, that's not the point of the Halo niche, right? The Halo niche is that you're charging the maximum rate, let's call it per hour, right? Delivering incredible value, but at a higher rate than anyone in the lower tiers on that pyramid. That doesn't mean that you only do that one thing, right? Because you're not specialized down necessarily. But the point is that a lot of the cost for hiring anybody to do anything is finding the right person,
Right.
vetting the right person, trying and working with the right person, and in some cases, letting that person go and finding another one because it didn't work out.
Yeah, and it's
And so in
especially
a lot
nice.
of things, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say it's especially nice if you find that one person that you can work with, and you know that they can cover kind of those little
Exactly.
extra areas. It's perfect.
That's how it works. I said you
Yeah.
get brought in for your Halo niche skill set, right? You're taking over everything around their email in this case and handling the whole thing for them,
Yeah.
right? I said, so they may ask you to, write for their LinkedIn or social media posts. They might ask you to write for their website, whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is you charge whatever your equivalent hourly rate or project rate would be for your Halo niche when you do stuff on a lower level.
Mhm.
It's not that you don't do it, it's that you get paid at the rate that you're already at, the highest rate. Because they're in every project for every professional, for every kind of delivery, right, or service, there's always the since you're here's, right? Since you're here and I know you and you do this kind of training, can you also train this group in my company, even though it's a different topic,
Yes.
right? Or I know that you figure out how to, untangle problems with billing systems. We've got this other company we just bought. It's a different kind of problem, different people actually altogether. Could you go in and help fix that? Can you take a look at that? So you charge like that rate for this work.
Mhm.
You don't lower your rate because it's a different kind of work.
Yeah, especially since they asked you to do that additional
Right.
stuff.
So the since you're here has become very profitable because I had a client, I had a couple of clients in Christmas week of last year, and I don't normally rewrite or do website work for folks. It's not that,
Yes.
it's just, it doesn't float my boat, but I'm good at it. And so my rate to do that, and the other reason is I do it in real time, right? So they come on a Zoom call at, 10 a.m. and by noon my time, we're completely done. I ask them questions as we go, and I do the whole thing like fast in real time. So I charge like $625 an hour
Right.
for
Which
that
is
work,
pretty amazing. I think you're like,
but only for 2 hours. Thank you. Yeah. I do not know many copywriters who are so fast, like, that they can like
no,
look at the
there's
whole
only
thing,
only a couple that I
write it,
know.
right?
Yes.
But it was only a $1,250 project, which is a pretty, that's a cheap website for like 5 web pages. That was a cheap rewrite on a website.
It really
But it
is.
was super profitable for me because it only took 2 hours. I was literally done at the end of 2 hours.
Mhm.
I gave them screenshots. They were with me, so they watched it all being written in real time. I gave them, emails with the actual text so they can give it to their graphics and web people. So it was just the rewrite, right?
Yep.
But for me, it was a great rate. And at the end of 120 minutes, whatever, what is this called? Not shaking your hands, whatever that action is called. I honestly am blanking on it right now.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm
Yeah.
done. And yet overall, they only had to spend 2 hours on the project themselves because that's another cost. One
Mhm.
of the things we went over last week, right, is like your definition of what a project is and what the client's definition of a project is are not the same thing.
No.
And part of their calculation is how much of my time, if I hire this person, am I going to have to work on this project, watching them, looking at their drafts, giving feedback, trying to chase them down to get something done. There's all kinds of like things that go into their time expenditure. And so their time expenditure is also like limited. You come on at this time on a Zoom call, you leave 2 hours later, you're completely done. I'm completely done. Here's your work product.
Yep.
So yeah, but the point around his question in the website work was, yeah, if they want you to do anything and you're okay with it, if they want you to write a blog post, if they want you to write, 1,000-word article, whatever, your rate is whatever your rate is at the Halo level. And for them, if they already know you, they like the quality of your work, you really sort of have their voice and brand tone kind of down. It doesn't make any difference that it's more expensive to hire you versus someone off of Fiverr. They know exactly what they're getting with you, and they know that they won't have to, chase you down and stuff or get good quality work. And they know that you're not gonna, you know, blow it off and do a half-ass job because that would also endanger all of your Halo work.
Mhm.
So
It's really a
like,
no-brainer
you've got
decision.
them and they've got you. It's great. What about you? Any examples?
You know, no, but a couple comments along that line. It's
Yeah.
kinda funny that you brought up that specific niche because I saw another person that's a friend of mine that, is doing kinda that same thing as a workshop. So, just a different way of coming up with, a solution to that issue. But it's
Yeah,
funny you should mention doing the email series for different things. She was
I've been
doing
thinking
a,
about the workshop
yeah,
model. There's now like cohort-based courses, which are
Hmm.
really sort of extended workshops.
Hmm.
I've been accepted into Maven, so which is probably the most famous company that's helped the most famous of these cohort-based courses. Live courses come in
Yep.
where you have sort of a facilitator, you have an instructor, you're in a group with X number of people. It's all it's not like you watch videos and you do your thing. It's like it's much closer to a college experience really than to an online course kind of experience.
Yeah, and the workshops are nice because, you're actually actively involved in taking the
Yeah,
course. You've got other people around you, so it's kind of that accountability factor of making sure you complete it. So there's a lot of good things to workshops. We've
yeah,
been looking at that too, in different areas.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's it for today. The topic,
It's a good topic.
speaks for itself, right? We all know about picking a niche, right? And eventually we'll all try to get into a niche, whether our initial clients have an outsized effect on our business and we end up, sort of migrating or transitioning into what those first important clients wanted. And that sort of becomes our default niche or whatever. Or we plan it out or we, imagine what needs to be and then we get to there and and that's all fine, but the fact is no matter what you do as a niche, there's almost certainly other people who are doing the exact same thing, so you're still in a competitive environment, and so
I was
it
gonna
takes
say,
a combination of stripping away and adding to get to a halo niche where there's just no one else who matches all the pieces of what
mhm.
you're doing in the way that you do them for whom you do them.
I was gonna say too, it's nice to have collaboration partners. So if something does come up like that that you don't have that expertise in, you can
Yes.
always work with another person that you know to get it done.
Yeah, and that ends up being sort of the same thing, right? Like
Sort of the same thing.
I have other people who in my mind, whether they think of it this way or not, they occupy halo niches for me. Like if I want someone who knows someone or can do X kind of work, then that's
Mhm.
the person I always go to first.
Of
And they
course.
might not be available. They might give me someone else, but I trust the recommendation. So yeah,
Yes.
and I don't have nearly enough of those people for my business yet.
Yeah.
But
Because we can't be experts in everything.
yeah,
No,
so
this is good. Good topic.
yeah. All right. I think that's about it for today. It's a really short one today.
Sounds good.
Plus, we both have something coming up at 12:30
Yes, we
individually,
do.
so
Yes, we
time
do.
to get going. Work calls,
Work calls. Duty calls.
duty calls.
All
All
right.
right. Thanks, John. See ya.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.